Good afternoon and welcome to Join the Movement, a digital series designed to help you get to know the compassion, peace, and justice ministries of the Presbyterian Mission Agency. Today we are featuring the Presbyterian Committee on the Self-Development of People, otherwise known as SDOP. It's a ministry that's been around for more than 50 years, partnering with community organizations all over the world. I'm Darla Carter with the Presbyterian News Service, and before we get started with our questions, I want to introduce you to our panel of distinguished guests. First up, we have the Reverend Dr. Alonzo Johnson, who is Coordinator of Self-Development of People. Welcome, Alonzo.
Thank you, Darla. It's good to be here, and it's good to be with all of you.
Thank you so much. Next up is Margaret Mwale, Associate for Community Development and Constituent Relations. Welcome, Margaret.
Thank you, Darla. It's great to be here and great to be with our viewers as well.
All right, and last up is Faye Fedlam, who is chairperson of the Presbyterian Mid-Kentucky's SDOP Committee. Welcome, Faye.
It is good to be here and to be with everybody in the broadcast.
All right. Well, we have just a few questions to toss at you during this lunchtime chat that we're having about SDOP. We know that SDOP is one of the CPJ ministries that benefits from the One Great Hour of Sharing offering. And we also will be celebrating SDOP Sunday very soon. But for those individuals out there who are not familiar with SDOP, Alonzo, I'd like you to just explain to us how SDOP works and how it empowers communities.
Wow, thank you, Darla. SDOP is an incredibly powerful and relevant ministry. We were born, just as Darla mentioned, we've been around for 50 years, and we were born out of the concern for reparations. And in that, we were also born to take into consideration that the church really needs to engage the issues of poverty in a way that is non-paternalistic and in a way that builds communities. So what we do as SDOP is we walk alongside our community partners to address issues that pertain to poverty, intersectional issues that pertain to poverty. So how that works is that we provide grants to our community partners. And in that, we walk together with them. And as they continue to address some of the issues that they are working on in communities, SDOP has always believed that communities are vital and really that they are really the locus of empowerment. We are walking alongside communities that already know how to do incredible work. We are walking alongside communities that already know their issues and know how to address them. And so it's really powerful to be a ministry that understands the importance of listening, walking alongside communities, but also being informed and growing from what we learn from communities. So that's what we do: anti-poverty work, and our communities own and control their own projects, which is a really important key element of self-development of people.
I know you've said in the past that's a misconception sometimes that people have. They think that SDOP goes into a community and actually runs the organization or runs the project, and that couldn't be farther from the truth, right?
That's right. That's correct. Communities know what they need, right? Communities are amazing. Communities are resilient. Our job is to really walk alongside them. How does the church put its resources towards communities that are doing incredible work? And that's really the key. We have no stake in running an organization for a community, right? That's paternalism. But we do have a great stake in learning from communities. And the church has an even larger stake in being able to make those relationships with communities. So that's what's really important. And this work on self-development of people is so incredibly rich in that way. It's about making relationships, community building, and supporting our communities as they continue to support us, and we walk together in addressing these issues.
All right, that's very good to hear. I want to move along now to talk a little bit about local committees. Can any of you tell us how local committees work, kind of what the role of local committees is in the functioning of SDOP, and even more importantly, how our viewers can become members of a local committee?
Hey, Darla, I love that question because I think what it speaks to is the breadth and depth of the way SDOP works. We really are so blessed that we are able to do this work at both the national level, but also at the local level. And so at the local level, we have committees at the synod level, as well as at the presbytery level. And these are essential to SDOP because they are able to partner with the types of community-based organizations that Alonzo was referencing within the boundaries of their own presbyteries or synods. And so we are fortunate at this time to have just under 30 local SDOP committees across the country. And for someone that might be interested in finding out if there's a way to join a local SDOP committee, I would say the first thing would be to check with their presbytery. So check with your mid-council and see, do we already have a SDOP committee? And then start from there. If there is no SDOP committee for your mid-council, then we would love to hear from you. So please feel free to be in touch with us. I know that at some point we will share our website, but it's pcusa.org/SDOP. So if you go there, there's information on there, and you can also reach out to us.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that the local committees are sort of your eyes and ears on the ground? Do they help make the site visits to the projects?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that is huge about SDOP is the partnerships and relationship building. And that happens even between the national SDOP and our local SDOP committee members. So in the event of a site visit, for instance, that's an excellent opportunity for us to partner with our local SDOP committee members to do a site visit. Or even in the event of maybe trying to get a bit more information about a potential community partner, we can sometimes reach out to our local SDLP committees and say, hey, are you aware of this organization? So absolutely, they are, in essence, yes, our feet on the ground, so to speak, in communities where, otherwise we could not be, but we're so fortunate that they can do that work.
All righty. Faye, I would like to turn to you to ask you a little bit about how vital you feel SDOP is, and just to talk a little bit about your experience with the Mid-Kentucky Presbytery's SDOP committee.
For me, self-development with people has been very vital. I am a retired pastor, so I was familiar with that, and working through One Great Hour of Sharing and the funding throughout my active ministry. My late husband was very active in 3 different presbyteries with the committee, but it is very active here locally. We have had 2 funded projects the past 2 years. The site visits, because of the constraints of COVID, have been virtual. But and particularly those have dealt with issues of places there are food deserts, and people, particularly immigrant groups, who are dealing with providing food for their communities.
All right. Food insufficiency is a big problem, I know, both in Kentucky and all over the nation, and certainly in many international communities as well. So I'm glad to hear that that is an area that you all are working in. Are there any other projects that you might want to lift up at this time? I know you could probably talk for days because you have them not only domestically, but internationally. I see you smiling, Margaret. You're muted, my dear.
I'm smiling because you're exactly right, Darla. There's so many wonderful projects across the country, whether we're talking at the national level or the mid-council level or internationally for that matter. And so one that I would like to lift up is the Afghan cattle Cooperative project, and that's featured in our SDOP Sunday resource, which you, as a viewer, you can get from our website. So we hope you will make use of that resource. But that is a group of immigrants that they came together and they wanted to find a way to basically be able to help themselves economically. And so it's an income generating project. They do cattle farming, and they've been doing wonderful work. And so that is actually a fairly recent project. They received a grant not too long ago from SDOP, but we're so grateful for the wonderful work that they're doing, highlighting not only the fact that they are an immigrant group, but also the work that they're doing in terms of the cattle farming and being able to generate an income for themselves and to some degree to help address the issues of poverty that they're facing.
That's an excellent example. I love that you're able to empower these groups. They're able to really do things for themselves, and they're, able to lift themselves up out of poverty in so many instances. I want to talk just a little bit about the SDOP resource, since you alluded to that. It's a great publication that is out now on our website at presbyterianmission.org. And it is chock full of stories about the various different organizations, including the one she just mentioned and a handful of others. And you can get that and print that out at any time that you would like. But it is mainly designed to help with the celebration of SDOP Sunday. So I'd like to ask Alonzo if you can tell us what SDOP Sunday is, what the purpose of it is, and how people should celebrate it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Darla. SDOP Sunday is an important time for the church to understand the work of SDOP. It is also right before the one great hour of sharing collection time. So it's a way for people to get familiar with SDOP as it's one of the sibling ministries of One Great Hour Sharing, per se. Ourselves, our Presbyterian Hunger Program, and the Presbyterian Disaster Assistance. So so it's a way for folks to get to understand and know who we are, know what we do. This resource is, just as you mentioned, Darla, chock full. It's a really good way to describe the resource. And it's chock full of information that's really pertinent to the work we do, but also information that can be helpful for those in churches who are looking to do some engagement in poverty and to join the movement to address the issue of poverty. But a lot of this is designed as a way to kind of point us towards One Great Hour Sharing Sunday, so that you are aware of what it is, your money is doing, what the church is being involved in. I mean, we are kind of an extended hand and feet for the church. And it's a good way for folks to get to see these particular projects as you're looking on the screen and going through the resource. But they also can get a sense of how SDOP works, right? And the kind of ways in which we work. The fact that we have a national committee, and then the fact that we have a local committee, right? These distinctions. Faye is one of our amazing members of our local SDOP and is doing that on the ground work. And in this, folks get a sense of the impact that is made, right? This is really important for church folk to understand, especially as it relates to Matthew 25, how we are addressing those issues of poverty. And in many ways, you will find the intersections of systemic racism and alleviating poverty and congregational vitality rolled up into one in many of these, as we are doing this work, because it takes that engagement of addressing the issues that prevent people from living lives of self-determination. So SDOP Sunday, and this particular resource can be used throughout the entire year, right? It's also a way that folks can get to help other folks understand the work of SDOP. For example, our incredible folks like Faye, who is our local committee chair, can bring this to her presbytery, or bring this to her committee, or bring this to her church and say, here are some ways that you can be involved in the work of self-development of people. And here's some ways that you can get to know about what it is we do. It's also an incredibly rich resource, right? If you're looking to do some anti-poverty work and you're looking for books, you're looking for particular types of things, as you've just scrolled up, we went past the peacemaking guide, which we included in this, because it has a wealth of information that can be helpful for people as they are addressing the issues of poverty. So we wanted this to be kind of a resource that would teach about SDOP, get people to understand what we do, but also be a useful resource to help congregations engage in this really important work and join that movement of anti-poverty.
I love the fact that it's very practical, and also, eradicating poverty can seem like such a big goal, and people may not know where to start. And this particular resource is a very good place to start, and a very good place for people to see how their gifts to one great hour of sharing are being used and used so well. I wanted to, in addition to talking about SDOP Sunday, and I hope we said that it's March 13th. Please mark your calendars, everyone. You all also have another big project coming up. It is the third webinar in the Struggle is Real series, which started last year and has been really tackling some great topics related to eradicating poverty. You've got one coming up on March 10th, and I'll ask Margaret if you can talk to us a little bit about what people can expect to see.
Yes, thank you, Darla. So that particular webinar will focus on the topic of rural poverty. And we have a great panel lined up that hopefully some of our viewers will be able to tune in and learn from. And one is a community group in Mississippi. It's a farming cooperative. And SDOP was one of the very first places where they applied to for funding several years ago to help them get started. And they have been able, using the funding that they received from SDOP and a few other places, to help them really make an impact within their community with regards to issues of poverty eradication. So that is a wonderful project. And another one that I wanted to lift up as well is a worker-owned sewing cooperative. That's in Morgantown, North Carolina. And once again, SDOP was one of the first places that they were able to get funding from. And I think the wonderful thing, just to that point of SDOP being one of the first places that groups sometimes turn to, is because SDOP is a ministry where we really try to make access more equitable in terms of funding for community-based organizations that otherwise would have a hard time getting funding from other places where they're required to be formally incorporated. So both these examples that I gave came to us as they were in the very early stages of getting started. And we're also excited that we'll have some Presbyterian pastors that will be joining us. The Reverend Rebecca Barnes, coordinator for Presbyterian Hunger Program, will be part of that panel. And we have a couple of other clergy as well that will be a part of the panel. So we're very excited about this upcoming webinar. Rural poverty is sometimes not given perhaps quite the same attention because maybe it's not very much in the media, maybe not spoken about quite as much as what we see in urban areas. So this is an opportunity for us to really shed some light on this very important topic of rural poverty. And frankly, how it ties in to Matthew 25, because Matthew 25 talks about poverty eradication, and that's whether it's at the rural level, right, or whether it's at the urban level. So we're really excited about the webinar.
Is it too late to register for that?
Absolutely not. It is not too late to register. We are still taking registration. So if you go to the SDOP website, there should be a way on there for you to find out how to register. And so, yeah, we hope to quote unquote see you next week.
All right. Yes, everyone, please do go register and come to that webinar, which will be on March the 10th. I also want to invite the audience to learn more about SDOP through other means. And you have mentioned your website a couple of times. Would that also be a good place to learn about applying for grants?
Yes.
Yes, it would. Mm-hmm.
It would be an excellent place to learn about applying for grants. We've got plenty of information on there about our funding criteria. We have information on there also about other community partners that we have, community groups that have applied to us in the past, and just the breadth of economic and social justice issues they're working on, whether it's food insecurity, as was mentioned earlier, whether it's income generating projects, disabilities advocacy, youth-led projects, senior citizens. There's so many, so that would be a great place to start.
Okay.
And we have an online application process too. So there's an online. You can apply online. So we now have that process that's happening too. You can go and get the application right off the web there. So that makes that easier for folks to do as well. And so, and any of those particular, and you'll find on that website, I was kind of addressing Tricia Dillon Thomas's question about particular types of things. Yes, absolutely. I think it's great to pass on the Sunday resource organization to organizations, because it lays out exactly the type of projects that we fund and kind of the philosophy of SDOP. So, but the website, that'd be a great resource to find those things, to give them to organizations. We have all types of things that are helpful on the website. We have, and so go there. We want you to go there because there are, a plethora of different things that you can use to give to organizations, to give to churches. We try to make this a multi-level site, in a sense that if whatever you need to communicate or to interpret the work of SDOP, we try to make that available on our website. So there are so many different things, and you can call us too. Give us a call if you'd like to know more about how we can help you do those things as well. And when I say that, I'm also including our international work, which is also on the website as well. And you can get a sense of how SDOP, in the global sense of how we operate and do this work of anti-poverty.
Yeah, one of the very interesting things, Jala, just to quickly say, we are so grateful that there are a number actually of Presbyterian clergy that through the years have recommended possible projects to us. So they have connected us to some of the projects that SDLP has actually ended up funding. And one that comes to mind is a group that was working on food insecurity issues, a food pantry, for the community members themselves. So they were the ones that were going to do the project and directly benefit from it. So we're grateful that that's how some of those projects come our way. For those groups that may be unsure of, well, we're not quite certain whether this idea that we have would fit SDOP, we do have a resource. It's called a pre-application, and that is also on the website. So it's not required that they complete that, but they are certainly welcome to complete that. And we can then provide some feedback as to the feasibility of their proposed project. So that's there as well for their use.
It's wonderful that the communication is not just a one-way street, that you are available, to give people a call back or an email response. Is there a particular email address that people can use if they have questions about grant applications or other aspects of SDOP?
Yeah, they can they can send the email. They can send me an email if they like, and it's MARGARET. And then there's a period, MWALE@pcusa.org.
And all of our email addresses should be on the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So folks should be able to be in touch with us that way. I just want to mention, I think one of the things that's really important that I'd like to just kind of throw in, especially as you see Faye here, who is really local SDOP, hands on the ground, engaged. This is a movement that is incredibly important for Presbyterians to be aware of and to also engage. Right now, I think what is really important is that we are living, this is a revival. And this is a revival to get Christians to understand that poverty eradication is who we are, right? This is not a choice. It is not an elective. It is who we are called to be. And so SDOP really want to implore folks, if you want to engage in this work, SDOP is one of those ways that you can really truly engage in poverty eradication. It's one of those ways that you really can get to have relationships with communities who are doing this work. Because now, and as we see right now, it's an important time. And so we're hoping that as folks are looking at this, there are ways you can get connected with us. And there are ways that you can be connected with communities who do incredible work. This is an incredibly rewarding ministry. And we hope that if you are thinking about SDOP, if you are contemplating, like, what's the next step, let us know what's happening. And we want to really get you involved and engaged in this incredible work of SDOP. And I think once you find that you are engaged, and once you get to meet some of our communities, and once you get to be an integral part of that work of poverty eradication, I think you will be thankful for the ministry of SDOP and how it continues to create relationships, but also importantly, be connectional. And this is what we're called to be as the church. So we implore you, come, be part of this movement, because this movement is powerful and it's revival. It's high time to take care of our communities.
Amen. Faye, have you found it to be rewarding work?
Extremely rewarding. And I wanted to say that if you want to know more about SDOP and the local presbytery, I would suggest starting with the presbytery office, and they would have the contacts for the committee. And in fact, some of our projects have come from committee members and from the presbytery. And I serve on the mission committee of Mid-Kentucky Presbytery. And through that, I tend to keep the SDOP before the mission, before the presbytery. I did a presentation at the presbytery meeting on Saturday, and particularly lifting up SDOP Sunday. So that is the way to do that. And the presbytery, for example, here in Mid-Kentucky would have my email and the ways to get in touch with me, because I have individually forwarded mid-council applications to them. And once that is in the process, then we contact that committee and or the project and go through a process to see if they fit criteria and do follow up with them.
Thank you so much for that wonderful and useful information. And thank you, Alonzo and Margaret, for being with me here today. I appreciate all of you distinguished guests, and I hope that our viewers have come to know a little bit more about SDOP and will connect with you. So God bless everyone and keep up the good work.
You too. Thank you, Darla.
You too. Shalom.
Thank you, Darla.
You're welcome.
You too.